Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about medical astrology and the ascendant or rising sign. Now, first off, as far as the ascendant goes in astrology, of course, it's connected with the physical body. People, depending on their ascendant, may often have some physical debilitation that is connected with the sign on the ascendant. The sun can also be associated with the physical body in astrology, but the ascendant is generally going to be is stronger and more dominant in terms of health-related issues that are associated with the sign on that ascendant. Now, in my case, I have a Taurus ascendant, and I'm susceptible to issues with the throat, with the neck, the thyroid, and also the ascendant is also our vitality and energy. It is like the sun in that regard, but the ascendant, I do believe, is a stronger role in terms of our endurance, our stamina, our energy level. And the thing about is, if you take somebody that has a Pisces sun and a Leo ascendant, for example, Pisces sun is not exactly known to have robust vitality and energy, and their immune system may be somewhat weak if you're isolating the Pisces sun. But someone with a Pisces sun and Leo ascendant, that person's likely going to have a lot more energy and stamina than the typical Pisces sun, because the Leo ascendant could nearly have inexorable energy, and that will modify the Pisces influence very strongly, and it'll probably have better recuperative powers than the typical Sun and Pisces person. Now, the thing about it is, now if somebody's got their ascendant in like a mutable sign, there may be a little stronger proclivity toward mental illness, only because really because it is mutable, because there is it's connected with changeable energy. Gemini rising might incline toward bipolar behavior, manic depressive. Pisces could be schizophrenia. The Virgo ascendant person might be inclined toward more some kind of worry issue with some mental illness that's connected with some kind of incessant worrying. And then you have Sagittarius, of course, that's a sign associated with hyperactivity, but there generally would have to be other indicators in the chart to reaffirm this. It's generally not going to be just by that person's ascendant alone whether they're going to have some kind of mental issue or disorder. Now, transits to the ascendant can impact the health and the role in terms of debilitations, physical issues. If you've got, say, a transit Jupiter hitting your ascendant, Jupiter, as I've talked about in previous videos, Jupiter could be it's very paradoxical. It could be very strongly benign and benevolent, but it could also have a tendency to enlarge and expand. It might enlarge the waistline in some cases, and especially if you have it in more of a heavier sign. Say you have it like in Pisces, Sagittarius. You have it in, say, if it's in Gemini, it could be due to eating a variety of foods. I have, when transit Jupiter hits my ascendant, having a Taurus ascendant, I have to be careful, because Taurus can be, in some cases, negatively manifested, indolent, and fairly sedentary. And then if I have Jupiter hitting the ascendant, that could add insult to abject misery, basically, and I could have a greater propensity to put on weight during that time. Now, another thing, too, is another example is I'm a little suspicious of an ascendant for Grayson Boucher, who is, you might have heard of him, he's also known as the Professor. He is an very, he could say, iconic, legendary street ball player, which is like basketball, but I believe it has some variations to it. And he had done something to his ankle area, Achilles heel, And I don't know his ascendant, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has a Taurus ascendant and transit Uranus was contacting that Taurus ascendant at the time. Uranus can be connected with the ankles and I believe Achilles heel as well. But anyway, and if somebody's having this transit Uranus at this time hitting their Taurus ascendant as an example, it could manifest in some unusual neck issues, some protrusion or lump, as an example. It could be some also some issue that could be Uranus related again, such as something with the ankles or Achilles heel or shin or tibia or fib. If I'm saying, I don't know if I'm saying it right, tibia or fibula. Anything that could be Uranus related might be circulation issues. There may be more propensity to nerve damage, getting electric shock. Uh, Another thing too, I want to talk about another as far as aspects to the ascendant in one's chart, how that could play a role in terms of health-related issues. Now, former NFL quarterback Joe Theismann, he had many of you may have heard if you're football fans out there. He had fractured his fibula and tibia on November 18th, 1985. It was a Monday night football game. Lawrence Taylor was one of the people that had sacked him at the time, and it was a result of this that he suffered some injury. He had fractured the tibia and fibula at this time. Now, in his natal chart, he has Uranus making a loose square to his ascendant, and Uranus again could be connected with the fibula and tibia. I believe this did play some role in this, and also at the time, I believe he also had transit Saturn making a loose conjunction to his natal Chiron in Sagittarius, which could give difficulties in sports-related injuries. Now, and when you have adverse aspects that are made by planets to your ascendant, there could be a greater proclivity to have injuries or health-related issues associated with that planet. Now, another thing too, it's also what's significant as well is to look at aspects in a progressed chart to your ascendant, as that could manifest in physical health related issues. Renowned, I believe, cosmologist, astronomer, he had hosted that iconic series of Cosmos. His name is Carl Sagan. He had Pluto conjunct his ascendant when he died of pneumonia. It was 1996, I think, and at that time, you're talking about the Pluto on. It's kind of ironic because he wasn't somebody that had I don't think he had any belief in astrology. He had vehemently or basically rebuked it, and they debunked astrology. Now, I heard from one source that he gave it more credibility near the time he passed away, but if he had known more about it, he might have had some better idea or conception that this was going to be a time where he would be at a greater risk for something perilous in death at this time. Now, at that time as well, he also had a transit in his chart. He had like Saturn and transit Saturn and Aries, making it what I think was a loose inconjunct to his Mercury in Scorpio. Mercury was retrograde in his chart, I believe, as well. And you're talking about Mercury can be associated with the lungs. Scorpio, of course, is a planet associated with death. And having that Saturn and Aries transit, you could be talking about limitations in vitality and energy at the time. And the thing too is when you're talking about as far as medical astrology and the ascendant, also synastry aspects can sometimes play a role in a person in terms of possibly being maybe hurt by a person, even physically in some cases. Now, let's say in a synastry example, there's a Chiron conjunct ascendant aspect. The Chiron person may, in some cases, if they're in an abusive situation or something, the Chiron person may inflict physical suffering on the ascendant person in isolated cases. If Chiron is in Taurus, as an example, it might be something with the throat or the neck. It could be, if it's in Gemini, there might be injuries to the arms, the shoulders, the hands, the wrists, as another example. Or the Chiron person might actually be a healer of the ascendant person. It might be a physician or some doctor that is associated with the ascendant person. Say if it's in Pisces, it could be somebody that does something with the healing, with the toes, with the feet, or maybe a drug or alcohol related issue. If you have, say, if there is a synastry aspect with Chiron, the South Node conjunct one's ascendant. Remember, the South Node in astrology could be about energy that we're getting away from. It's pulling away. The ascendant can be vitality and energy. If the South Node is conjunct the ascendant in synastry, the South Node person may unwittingly drain that ascendant person of that energy. Even if the ascendant is in a sign, I would say it's in Leo, and that person might have a very robust vitality, that South Node person might still drain the person of that very strong energy. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.